There are some marvelous figures in this poem, which I go back to a lot. And some of the phraseology is great. The idea that a new world and the old world can be made explicit, understood, and in the completion of its partial ecstasy and the resolution of its partial horror. I just think of that. Eliot was writing this in, I think, 1938, something like that, or maybe a little earlier, when it seemed like the Second World War was coming. And I think the shadow of that, in some ways, is prefigured in this poem. And I think this ephemeral touch where you experience something which just stays with you for such a long time, when he catches it by saying, the moment in the arbour where the rain beat, the moment in the draughty church at Smokefall, how do you remember it, involved with past and present? And my goodness, are we not in an era where we are distracted from distraction by distraction? And there's a fantastic kind of notion, a definition, if you like, for me, of alienation. When he talks about this world of internal darkness, deprivation, and destitution of all property, desiccation of the world of sense, evacuation of the world of fancy, inoperancy of the world of spirit. That is a fantastic evocation of total alienation, against which there is only one way, which is not to participate. Abstention from the movement is the only answer. And this notion that words stray and crack and sometimes break under the burden, under the tension, slip, slide, perish, decay with imprecision. My God, it sounds like we're watching Fox News. Nothing will stay still, shrieking voices, scolding, mocking. All of that. And then I think of the world, and I think of, not of World War II, as Eliot had in mind, but I think of environmental degradation, a depleted, desecrated relation to nature, climate change, all of those things. And I think in a few years' time, if we might not actually then use these words, ridiculous, the waste sad time, stretching before and after. In a way, it says that there is room for action. And we have to be brave enough to confront both the partial ecstasy and the partial horror of all that is in front of us. So forgive me for introducing this, but for me this was terribly important because, as I think you can see, these themes of time and temporality, of space, spatiality, and place, the specificities of the rose garden, opening the door to the rose garden. In a funny way, I've always thought of the work I've done on companions to Marx, his Grundrisse and so on, as opening a door, not into a rose garden to be sure, but into something which is, I think, potentially very profound.